starting the first Faces of New York video today with Anastasia
I'm excited.
on this nice end of August, warm, sunny day.
Yes.
Feels very nice. Tell us about your story. What made you move to New York, and how does it feel right now?
Now 2 years ago, I started my Pure Land farm. We were producing a lot of alkaline drinks and promoting it, and participating in different festivals. And so after a while, I realized that Moscow is quite conservative and quite limited. Even though it is slowly progressing, it's not it's not a huge playground for this wellness kind of things. So I realized I need to move to New York and make it happen here on a larger scale. So I'm here now. I feel like it's a shared experience for everybody, that the first few months are very difficult. I moved here alone, without family. I knew 2 people here. They were a great help. But still, 4 months in, I was so agitated that I can't go anywhere. I used to travel. We used to go all the time to Europe or to Asia. And like being stuck in one city really felt very limiting, and like you're in a prison, in a very fun and engaging prison, but still you can't move anywhere. So now I'm fine. I feel way more stable and way more happy where I am. I don't need to travel all the time like I used to. And there are a lot of things to be done here. But in a way, I'm out of a difficult winter period of me just alone working. What I really remember vividly is when I just came here, I rented a hotel at Times Square, and I used to just walk at night through Times Square. It was November, and I just felt like so much power coming in, like really so much energy like coursing through. And I was just like really slowly walk through night Times Square and around Manhattan and just walk for miles. And it was like a beginning of a superhero movie. Huge
Stronger?
bridges and huge structures and skyscrapers. And somehow you take on that energy and become different. It's not the same as living in a cabin, in a forest, or in some Russian forest. You kind of become more one with the nature. Here you become more one with the glass and metal. Even though my backyard looked like this.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with glass and metal. Yeah, so if we're talking about a regular person who has mediocre lifestyle, in a way that, let's say, not really spiritual or religious, doesn't have any kind of teachers to come with questions about like morals or some choices, or some when you are looking for something and you need some advice, like for this person living in New York, what would be the best way to find a solution to those kind of questions arising on a daily basis?
The thing is, with spirituality, if you want to find out and if you want to find your path, you can absolutely do it. There is Google. Everything has been put into digital format now. You can study all the different religions, different Buddhist schools, yoga schools. You can get deep into anything and meet your teachers. The other thing is how lucky you are, because for some traditions you really need a lot of merits and you need a lot of good karma to be not afraid to do it, to abandon your ego and to actually pursue it. Because if you're just entering the path, it will likely completely change your life and you will lose the old ways that you had, and you might lose old friends, you might lose your job or your money, and somehow ego kind of feels that shift and just doesn't let you go deep enough, or doesn't let you go into that direction, even though truly you're losing the ways of the, like, the bad ways and the ways of the ego and your coping mechanism, and you need to go through your traumas. It's like spiritual path is not waking your inner child and this is spa therapy, oh, we are relaxing. This is really a life-changing, pretty difficult journey, but it's so rewarding, you know, because your life changes completely and you start living in a new way that is aligned with how the world works, with how the harmony between you and your surrounding, between elements work, and you are way more in the flow of good things. But you need to lose the negative things for that. So that's the second point. And you find way more inner joy and happiness, and your relationships are better, your surrounding is better, your job is better, but it takes time. There's a proverb that with a regular person, the start of life is so bright and beautiful and happy, and then as it progresses, it gets worse and worse. You get old and sad and disillusioned, and then don't get to any happy ending. But life of a practitioner, it's like, okay, you start like you're barely crawling, you're barely making it. It's a chaotic mess, and then slowly you build good habits, you build your mind, you build your appreciation of life, and then slowly, as the life progresses, it gets better and better. And I've seen that in my life and in the life of my, like, my fellow practitioners. It just, like, it's slowly, everybody's slowly getting better mind, better money, traveling, like better communication. It's a slow process, but it's like everybody's climbing. So I'm very happy to see that. And the third thing is, if you are really truly spiritually inclined and you've done your research, then you should go to the teachers. You should really travel in the Himalayas, go to Nepal, go to Tibet, India, meet the teachers, which is to meet the teacher is the most important. That is the one who is leading you on the path and who is guiding you through all your ego outbursts and your emotions and your misunderstandings. That's the one who can lead you through the path. So that's the most important. Not just going alone to sacred places, but actually meeting a person. And you can meet a person somewhere downtown on the east side, or in Brooklyn, or on top of Kailash, or somewhere in Russia, in Moscow, just, you know, being at the right place at the right time. Somebody invited you and you're like, oh, I should go. And then your whole life changes. So the teacher is the most important thing.
What you said about the ego and the traumas and the negative scenarios that we keep repeating, and that those practices, or like spiritual way, it's the way that teaches you how to heal your trauma, or how to stop repeating those negative scenarios, which in a way sounds similar as some concepts of psychotherapy.
Right.
So my question is, could psychotherapy or spiritual practices substitute one another, or it's completely different things? Because some people don't want to be religious. They are afraid of being religious because they're thinking, oh, I'm becoming some crazy monk or something. So for them, it's easier to follow the path of psychotherapy. Are those interchangeable things, or they complement one another, or how does that work in your view?
Yeah, in my opinion, the best people are the ones who combine the two, who really did their therapy, who have been to some psychological trainings, who understand exactly what their traumas are, and like, oh, I'm triggered right now, I need to snap out of it. And at the same time, those who do meditation, meditation, because when you do shamatha and vipassana, in vipassana you look and look and look wholeheartedly at the emotion until it relaxes and disappears. And that really putting your whole attention to that point and to all the different points in the body and in your psyche, it lets them move through. So you can really combine, but the best results I've seen in the beginning, combining the two, and further down the road, just sticking with only Buddhist practice, because you know what's happening, you know what to do with it, and then you can do it the Buddhist way. For those people who really avoid religion, I feel like Buddhism needs to be in a way excluded from that compilation, because it is really a science of the mind, how it works. Huge scholarly works are written about it, about how there's consciousness. There is like the consciousness of the eye, how it perceives the object, how it interprets back. And you can do a lot in Buddhism without anything religious, and just follow the meditation and the rules of interdependence, karma. But in psychotherapy, it is limited by the fact that you don't take into account the next lives and previous lives. So whatever you can blame on, you blame it on the parents. Parents might not be that terrible as the therapist pictures them. Okay, if it's not your mother, it's your grandmother and grandmother. No, it's your previous life. You've been repeating the same patterns and the same habits for 5 lifetimes. You're not going to suddenly change in this one, in this childhood. So Buddhism really takes into account work through lifetimes. You're progressing through lifetimes and you get reborn as this person and that person. And if you're really lucky, you're actually still following the same path like I do. So you kind of, it's a long way.
So one of the questions that always bother me is being a non-spiritual person, but feeling if let's say if someone is not a spiritual person, a regular person, living a regular life, but feeling that something can be changed, something could be better, but doesn't know where to start, and also is afraid of being not good enough, or like, oh, I was not born for this. What would be your advice to any person who feels like that? What should they start from? Maybe some questions they should ask themselves, or maybe some practices to do. Like, shall they just start practicing meditation, or shall they ask themselves important questions? So, what would be the first steps? Let's say, shall we start like eating healthy, right? And you just start like eating healthy. It also can be sometimes too much because we're so stressed, right? And already bringing some new limitations can be even more stressful.
No, the thing is, even you have to examine your intentions about why you want to change things. Are you dissatisfied with something? If you're dissatisfied with something, you have to realize that there is no satisfaction in anything external. Whatever you do, whichever house you live in, whichever car you drive, whichever husband you have, whichever body you have, nothing ultimately will ever bring you satisfaction. Now, you're in this body, in this situation, you are still thinking. You're thinking ahead, oh, I want this, then I'll be happy. Then, somehow it will be better and less stressful, and, I'll be more joyful. But then when you arrive at that stage, say 5 years later, you already have everything planned, then I'll be happy. And then in 5 years, again, oh, I have to do this. Oh, now I'm already old. Oh, what am I gonna do? Maybe now it's time not to want anything. Let me just, let me just start dying peacefully. Okay. So that's quite a grim picture, but it's the tendency of the mind to have desire, to generate that desire and to run after it and run after it and run. And then we spend millions of years running like that. That is what is spinning samsara. So that wish to change things for the better, it's both a good thing and also the source of all our suffering. So if you truly want to change something, what you need to do is to start looking for joy within, which everybody repeats it. But it really is true. And I experienced it firsthand. In Buddhism, there are so many practices cultivating inner joy and inner bliss. And you're looping that snake back, that snake of desire. It's biting its own tail. You start cultivating like purity in your body and joy and bliss and satisfaction. And really, when you stop that like constant running, you realize that there's nothing to run after. And actually, it's already perfect and beautiful. And but there are so many things to do just out of kindness to yourself, not out of desire to be better for somebody or for something, for likes or money or whatever, but actually out of kindness to yourself, and out of kindness to others. And you realize that everybody's running the same race. Everybody's running in a wrong direction. They're running out. You need to be running back in. And it's very sad. And you start doing way more things for others out of compassion and out of trying to bring them to meeting the wisdom and compassion that you found and benefited immensely from. And even your sport, the way you eat, the way you sleep, it just becomes the support to just be happy in your body and do more for others. It's not really for any kind of selfish reason. So does it answer your question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect. Let's talk about what are you doing for yourself now that you would like to teach more people to do?
Certainly meditation. Meditation is crucial because you're taking your mind and you're making it move one-pointedly. It's going out, it's going in, and you really train. It's like a train going back and forth. It's not all over flying like a moth around. It's like going here and back, and then whichever task you have, you can one-pointedly concentrate on that task. So I feel like that's very important for productivity and for your own peace of mind, because you settle down, your emotions kind of dissipate and calm down, and you can see clearly without everything flying around in a storm. In the Hurricane Erin is not happening in your mind. So that's what I would recommend. What I personally do is these days, because my tasks are quite demanding, I realized that I really need to up my game in terms of the body. So I work out a lot. I work out 4 or 5 times a week. I do functional training. I really enjoy it. I'm very happy with the results and with the structure. It's every time I get out of the gym, I'm like energized. Or I mean, either I'm energized or I'm barely walking and I walk very slow, like I'm in an action scene. So it gives me more clarity, more inner strength, because I'm moving heavy weights or I'm really forcing myself to do a hard task physically, you cannot cheat in any way with that. And then mentally, it prepares you. Okay, I have this heavy, challenging tasks. I am moving it. I am moving through it. I can really push it to completion. So I like it. Or if I like carrying heavy weights. Okay, I can lift it. I can do. I can lift that task or that business. So that's very good. Like analogy. You're training your body. You're training your mind. Another thing I realized is I'm really staggered by the way that I eat. It's purely desire for pleasure. Just, I want this pleasurable but very bad for me thing. Like I used to drink too much coffee, too much pastries, too much dough, like pizzas. I mean, usual New York stuff. It's pizza, coffee, bagel, donuts, standard. Maybe some tacos also. So I was sitting here in the backyard and I realized that I have trouble breathing at my young, relatively age, and realized that my body is really oxidized, like really acidic, not oxidized, very acidic. I have trouble breathing. I feel heavy. I feel like I'm gaining weight and not much love in my body. So this month, from middle of July to middle of August, I did like 30 days pure alkaline eating schedule. I feel so much better. My skin cleared. I think I dropped some weight. I feel way more disciplined. It's like you actually feel joy out of eating food. Yeah, great results. It's a little bit challenging. On the third day, I was already making my way to my usual coffee and croissant shop. And then I moved myself into the deli for some juice. And I was like, after that, I felt so strong. It was a big victory. And then the whole month was way more smooth after that. But you really have to break that like strong habit. Another thing I do is I really make sure that I go to bed 10 to 10:30 p.m., not later. No matter whatever tasks I'm dealing with, I need to be in bed. I need to be lying down without a phone. Okay, I'm sleeping. And that dramatically decreases your levels of cortisol. That really, you feel like a different person. You're not in survival mode. Because if you go to bed late, your body thinks that something is wrong. For some reason, it's dark. We are not sleeping. That means there is danger. So we need to be awake and we need to be alert and use whatever resources the body has to avoid that danger. So you wake up depleted and you wake up late, and first half of the day you're just ramping up to some kind of normal level of human being. So really, I make sure I go to bed on time, because when you wake up, you're again not in survival anymore, and you also make more money because you're kind of more in creation and less in survival. So I feel like for any business owner or any person who's trying to grow their income, that's very important. Well, also the other thing, I started really every day writing down my schedule. I write everything that I remember I need to do. Then according to Brian Tracy method, I do A, which is the highest priority, very important to my goals. Then B, which is like not urgent, you can do it later, and C, which is like just entertainment or something to enjoy. And you do A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C kind of, I don't have much time for C. And then when you make the schedule, you really put A1, A2 like on top of your list. It might be the hardest, but you put it there, you do it, and then sometimes you only do like first A5, but that's your most important tasks and you did them. And it feels great. You're progressing towards your goals. and all the unimportant things that you might be stuck on or spend too much on, you like they're just not scheduled. I think that's it for now. That's a long.
That's a long answer, but that's a cool answer. It's very how to say that? It contains a lot of valid points. You know, it's like it's heavy but good.
Okay, that's great.
It's all the valid points. Perfect. So you said that you lived in different places, right? That you lived in Moscow, in Tibet, and in
No, I lived in Moscow. I lived there in a retreat center for some time, and then I lived in Nepal for 5 years.
in Nepal for 5 years.
Yeah, from 14 to 20-ish.
That's a long time.
It is a long time.
And also you moved to New York.
Yeah.
So you could say that you lived in Moscow, Nepal, and New York.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, of course, it's one more hour conversation should follow. But let's
That's for the
keep it.
next interview.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next interview. Definitely, it's super interesting. For today, let's focus on this. In the beginning, you said that you felt this energy of New York when you arrived.
Right.
How would you describe the energies of Moscow and Nepal, and how are they all different, and what is good in each of those? Moscow, Nepal, and New York.
Well, Moscow is super, like, very strong culturally and politically, and also for building wealth. It's huge. It's like, it's very structured. It's comparatively conservative. I feel like it's really made for building wealth, but at the same time, because I'm from there, I see all the different parts of Moscow where I lived, whether it's in the region or in the center or like somewhere in the forest. I know different sides of Moscow. And for me, Moscow was also very much about dance, very much about our studio in the center of Moscow, where we spent so many times just in the studio all the time, and then all the surrounding bars and places where we performed, places where we went to for just some like small vacation or a weekend. So that when I was really heavily into dance training, that were the only moments that I was actually very happy to come back to Moscow. I was like, oh, I'm coming back. The fun continues. These are the only times. Otherwise, I don't like Moscow too much. I don't think it really. I don't think it's very compatible with me. Then Nepal. Nepal was this huge dream about Nepal was a huge dream about spending your whole life in practice. Really dedicating your whole time, your whole energy into trying to get enlightened as quickly as possible. And that was very beautiful, very like compassionate, a lot of devotion. When we just moved, I just finished 9th grade, and so we actually missed the deadline. So my mom was like, "Do you want to just kind of rest for a year?" I was like, "Yes, I want to." So I was just doing my preliminary Buddhist practices, reading books about like hermits in the Himalayas. I was reading different like scholarly books on philosophy. I was really going offline without any electronics, nothing. Traveling, we didn't travel too much in the mountains, but the whole Kathmandu and surrounding areas I know very well. So it was very nice. Then I finished school there. It was another beautiful journey. I was finally really appreciated. I was the only white person in the whole class, and they were like, oh, "You're so smart. You're so beautiful." It was truly like reverse racism somehow. So I came out of my shell. And then the university time came when I was in a Buddhist college. Mm, that was both my dream since I was 14 to go there, and then at the same time shattered, because I thought, oh, finally I will find the people who are the same as me, who have the teachers, who are really into practice, who are as dedicated. And no, there were a lot of scholars who were like really intellectually inclined to study, who didn't practice at all. Or there were exchange students from other philosophy faculties, which were like, we're just studying it just to know. And then maybe 5% of the people were actually practitioners, and these were my friends. And so in the end, it kind of fell apart, and I dropped out because it was too dry, too philosophical. I could have probably pulled through, but I was 18 and just, too full of dreams and uh, kind of demands, and at the same time aspirations. So yes, but Nepal is very warm, very kind. All the people, they don't have huge ambitions, but they're very kind and very, really from the heart. This is a heart's place. That's why it's full of temples, full of practitioners. I live near the biggest stupa in the world, in Bodhanath. It's truly spiritually, because there is a huge Tibetan diaspora. The ones who fled from Tibet directly down to Nepal, they all still live there, even though they're now old, and the new generation sometimes stays, sometimes goes to the West. So yeah, beautiful years. I feel like I really changed in those 5 years.
Is it necessary for any person who wants to practice Buddhism, let's say? Do you think it's necessary for them to go to such sacred places as Nepal, or they can do enough where they are? Like, does the place matter always?
No, not too much. Place doesn't matter that much. You can definitely progress where you are, and you can find a lot of joy and a lot of blessings here. Even I was recently upstate in Orgen Chodzong, which is Dudjom's lineage retreat center. It is so full of blessings. I was so blessed, relaxed, full of life after visiting. It was incredible. It's being rebuilt now, and we were going there to perform Lindro. So yeah, there are blessed places everywhere. You don't have to go to Nepal, but the thing is, it's the presence of practitioners, like big concentration of all the practicing people who are actually sitting there in nature of mind, with their blessings, with their prayers. That's what you get the transmission from. That's why all the pilgrimage places, they're not connected very much with the power places. They're connected more with the people who were there. Even in Tibet, all the places, they're connected to Guru Rinpoche or Yeshe Tsogyal or different saints who actually went there and did something there, and those blessings are still present. They're still ingrained in all the stones and the earth and the grass. And you can feel it. You can really feel it. So that's why people go to holy places, to get connection to actually these people, these saints, and the hermits and practitioners. And another thing, with the living practitioners, going to some big gatherings, you can really feel it. But it's the same thing as if you go to a big dance festival. Like when I was in Spain for Del Tebre Danza with Akram Khan and all the different beautiful choreographers, you get the life transmission from them. It's, you know, because we are energetic beings, you get, you know, you really dance better when you're surrounded by like super good, super professional dancers. That some, you know, you would, it's logical. So yeah, same with holy places. It's you know, it's just a transmission of energy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your answers. Thank you so much for an interesting conversation.
Happy
And
to.
for your time, for your energy. And I hope we have another one
Yes.
about Nepal and something else.
Yes, sure.
Perfect.